I'm honestly just gonna try and be quick with this video. So, hello and welcome to the second part of this kind of quick series that I'm doing, where I'm reviewing each of the live action movies in anticipation of Rise of the Beast. Today is Revenge of the Fallen. I'm just honestly gonna get straight into it. I'm not gonna give a whole sob story about about this movie like last time. I'm just gonna be straight up. I hate this movie. From the time I was 8 years old, I always hated it. And the thing is, when I was eight, I guess I technically liked it more than I do now. Obviously, when I was eight, obviously all the sex jokes kind of went over my head. Now, obviously, being much older, yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. This movie, you could basically remove the Autobots, and this movie would not change at all. The final battle is literally the only part where the Autobots are actually useful. Throughout the entire film, they do absolutely nothing. This film is literally just humans going on a quest to find the matrix of leadership. That's all it is. And not only that, the final battle just comes out of nowhere. And what I mean by that is the Decepticon army just shows up. Obviously in the first movie, we saw all the Decepticons before the final battle. So that made sense. Obviously in the ones, upcoming in Dark of the Moon, the Decepticons were obviously, on the well, hidden on the moon. And, even in Age of Extinction, obviously the army in that movie, they were built. But with the Revenge of the Fallen, they just kind of appear. Megatron just goes, Decepticons, begin our assault! And then they just magically fall from the sky. That was so dumb. This movie is utter garbage, but it's not completely awful because obviously this still retains some good things from the first one. Obviously the CGI is still amazing. And one very interesting fact about this movie is obviously the biggest character from these live action films. That is Devastator. Now, Devastator actually holds a place not just in this Transformers history, in movie history. Devastator himself is in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most complicated CGI model in movie history. To put it into perspective, Optimus Prime is made up of 10,000 moving pieces. Devastator is made up of 80,000 moving pieces. That is ridiculous. That means in total, Devastator is made up of 640,000 moving pieces. That's over 500,000. When they were rendering him, he literally broke computers at ILM. When they were rendering him, the computers just stopped working. They just broke. And that just proves how insane Devastator is. Obviously, yes, I still hate this movie, but now my perspective has just completely changed on Devastator because now when I watch that scene, I will appreciate it a lot more. Knowing how difficult it was to actually get the scene working. But before I go back to the the negatives, yes, the positives, sorry. Yeah, we gotta talk about this. There was a Transformer being a human. Yes, it's a cool idea. But when you have Michael Bay do it, you just end up with this. Like, you could have had, yes, like a long, tentacle thing. Could have been a tail or something. Nope. It had to be her tongue. Had to. It had to. I don't know what they were thinking while they were on this movie. This film it has the most human sex garbage ever. Someone could watch this film without knowing anything about Transformers, not knowing anything. If they just want sex jokes galore, then yeah, just watch this movie. That's all it is. Utter rubbish. But what everyone will agree, the best scene in this movie, even though the standard is not high, is the forest fight. This battle is the best scene in this film. And of course, the final battle is utter garbage. But before I get to that, let's just talk about the forest fight. This scene, I honestly did not really care for it for so many years. And I never really understood why people loved it so much. I was like, yeah, it was cool, but why did you like why are people so obsessed with this? Then obviously I watched it now and oh boy is it awesome. Also, fun fact, this is actually the first scene of any of the first trilogy of Transformers that I've ever seen. So basically, I Age of Extinction was the first one I watched, and then we got the box set. So I could finally watch the first three. And then basically, this popped up on YouTube, this forest battle. And I honestly had no idea who anyone was, except for Optimus, obviously. And yeah, this was the first scene I ever watched from the first three movies. So yeah, that was fun. But now back to obviously the negatives, because that's what this movie's full of. The Transformers movies have some pretty good villains. Megatron was just ruthless in the first movie. In the next two films, oh boy, we have the best villains of the franchise. This film is its villain is rubbish. I'm sorry, but the Fallen, the title character, is the weakest little shit I've ever seen. The dude literally just sits in his chair for the whole movie thinking he's Thanos, even though Thanos doesn't do that until like 3 years later, but you know what I mean. He literally does nothing, and then he stands up when Prime dies, and then only like an hour later he decides to come to Earth. And even then, bear in mind, he is a Prime, and he is the original Decepticon, and he gets absolutely bodied by Optimus. The dude has telekinesis and he's still lost. The Fallen's toy is amazing, the Studio Series version, but my god, it's so much. The toy itself is just so much cooler than the actual character. Anyway, to sum it all up, I freaking hate this movie. I don't want to watch it again. It is my least favorite one of the franchise. And yeah, I don't like this. The Autobots, like I said, you could remove the Autobots from this movie and nothing would have changed. It's just it's horrible, really. I'm glad they fix it with the next one, and that's the only reason I wanted to do this review so that we could get to the next movie. Cause oh boy, it is awesome. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and Autobots, roll out!